Alright, it looks like winter has decided to hang out just a little bit longer, as Winter Storm Pearl is going to be bringing severe winter weather to the Midwest, Northeast, and Southeast over the next few days. And it's really coming in two systems. There's one system that's hitting the Northeast right now, and then the bulk of Winter Storm Pearl that's going to be moving in over the next couple days. This is showing what's hitting the Northeast right now, and as you can see, there's actually a little bit of snow building into Vermont, New Hampshire, and then a little bit of southern Maine as well. There's also some heavy rainfall building into Connecticut and parts of Massachusetts as well. That's going to move off. That's the first system. That's just kind of a quick hitter. It hits real quick and then it's gone. And then the bulk of Winter Storm Pearl will be moving in right after that. Before I get into the bulk of Winter Storm Pearl, I'll just show you the accumulated snowfall associated with that one little system that moves through right now. Possibly 5 inches in southern parts of Vermont, New Hampshire, northern Massachusetts. So that's a little something. Northeastern parts of New York, you're getting a little bit of snow with that one as well. Maybe 3 to 4 inches in some places. But again, that's not Winter Storm Pearl. That's kind of the little flash that comes in ahead. And you can see it right here on this map. Winter Storm Pearl is in the central plains right now, and it's just collecting a bunch of energy, moisture, and just getting stronger and stronger right now. As I click through here, you're going to see these heavy snowfall rates start to build into Nebraska and South Dakota. And there's a few big things with this storm. There's, of course, some snowfall associated with it. You can see that strip going all the way from basically Colorado up to Michigan. But the real big story of this storm is the winds that are associated with it. There's some 50 to 60 mile per hour gusts in some places, at least in the forecast. And what that's going to do is when you get this snow right here, it's not the craziest accumulations, maybe 3 to 5 inches in some places. But when you mix that 5 inches of snow with 60 mile per hour winds, you get a blizzard. You get whiteout conditions, extremely dangerous for driving. And in fact, there are blizzard warnings in Nebraska, South Dakota, building into Minnesota a little bit too. So that's something to watch out for associated with the storm. As I move through to Friday at about 1 in the morning, you can see that low has moved right over the Midwest. Now here is the key thing of this storm is how far north is it going to go? Right here, it's showing that it moves a little too far north for the Northeast to get any real accumulated snowfall with this one. If you think about the circulation around a low, it's counterclockwise. So right here, it's going to be bringing up warm air into the Northeast, and we'll take a look at that in a minute. The one other thing you want to notice is these severe thunderstorms that are going to be building into eastern Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama associated with Winter Storm Pearl. It seems weird that Pearl is north of the Northeast, but we're feeling its effects in the south. And it's because you can see this giant line of severe, heavy rainfall that is stretching basically from Maine all the way to Texas. This is actually a pretty cool map to look at. And you can kind of get an idea of how that's happening looking at the jet stream right here. So right now, jet stream doesn't look all that strong. It's maybe 100 knot winds, nothing special. You do notice this giant trough right here. And what that's doing is actually providing the energy and moisture for the storm. Think of the winds. They're flowing right here from the warm tropical Pacific. That's going to be fueling the system as it sits over Oklahoma up to Nebraska. The other factor is it's going to be bringing in some warm, moist air from the Gulf of Mexico. So it's really the tropical Pacific and the Gulf of Mexico are just feeding this low pressure system that's sitting above Nebraska. It's pretty cool how all the weather in the country is connected. Pacific, Gulf of Mexico, affecting a storm that's going to hit the Midwest. It's pretty cool to see, and then you can actually see the energy increasing on this map. Remember that first one, everything was about 100 knots? Well, as I click through here, you're going to see these yellows start to pop up. Now what that indicates is 150 knot winds, and when you start seeing those dark yellows, that's about 170. Now I know what you're thinking, this is way up in the sky, who cares about 300 millibar jet stream? But what this indicates is that the energy is present. So if there's 170 knot winds way up in the sky, that energy is going to be propagating down to the surface, and we're going to get those extreme winds that are causing the blizzard conditions. Again, that's the big story with this one. It's the extreme winds mixed with a little bit of snowfall that's creating blizzard conditions. Now let's take a quick look at the severe thunderstorms that are going to be building into the southeast associated with Winter Storm Pearl. Remember that giant strip we saw going from Texas all the way up to Maine? And that's actually a big part of the story. There's going to be most likely some flooding, some flash flooding, and possibly even some tornadoes building into the southeast associated with Pearl. You see some of those heavy rainfall rates starting to come in early Friday morning at about 7 a.m. And that's going to continue and actually get worse throughout Friday morning into the afternoon, where we see 0.5 inches per hour building in from basically, you can't see it on the screen, but it's basically going from Texas all the way to Alabama. Now, when you're getting half an inch per hour, in about 2 hours of that, you can get 2 inches. So that's why there are flood warnings in the southeast associated with Winter Storm Pearl. See, they ease up throughout the day on Friday, and then they're gone by Saturday. So Friday morning is really going to be the time to watch if you're in the southeast and worried about flooding or tornadoes. And this is what's fueling that. You can see, remember I talked about how the warm, moist air was rushing in from the Gulf of Mexico? Well, you can actually see it on this map. Up here, the temperatures are what? 45 degrees, 50 degrees. But where you have these winds pushing in the warm air from the Gulf of Mexico, we're into the 80s. And it's actually 20 degrees above average temperatures throughout this entire area where you see these dark red temperatures. And what that does, warm air is less dense. So when the winds push in that warm air, it rises up, creates a bunch of clouds, and then you get severe thunderstorms, heavy rainfall, possibly some tornadoes. So that's a big part of the story, is what's going on in the southeast. The other big part is what's going on in the Midwest. That's where we're seeing those blizzard conditions. Right now, there's a little rain. You can see that first little system that hit the northeast. That's moving off of eastern Ohio right now. And then Winter Storm Pearl is going to start moving into the area about Thursday at 7 a.m. That's right when I'm filming this video, actually. And you can see those heavy rainfall rates are already building into the Midwest. And then those really heavy rainfall, maybe 0.5 inches per hour, building into Illinois and Indiana throughout the day Thursday. So by Thursday afternoon, Illinois is going to be getting some pretty heavy rainfall associated with this one. And again, that's because on the right side of this low, it's counterclockwise. So at first, you're going to have that warm air pushing up, so your precipitation is going to be rain. Then, as the low moves through, you can see it over Michigan here, on the left side of that low, you have the cold air being pulled down. And that's when we're going to start to see this strip of snow basically going from Colorado all the way to Michigan. And there's actually going to be some decent accumulations associated with this thing. You can see northern Michigan at about 7 a.m. on Friday, getting some decent snowfall rates, building into eastern Wisconsin as well, before that moves off into the northeast. I shouldn't say into the northeast, it's more like north of the northeast. So there's two things I want you to notice on this map right here. This is showing Winter Storm Pearl right now as it's developing, bringing in that energy from the Pacific and Gulf of Mexico, just fueling the system. The two things I want you to look at are, first, how these blue temperatures, that indicates below freezing, how those start to fill into the country as they're being pulled down by this low. And then I'm going to zoom in and I want you to look at how intense these winds look. So first, let's check out this cold air pushing down, and you can see it really starts to push down throughout the day, Thursday and then into Friday. We start to get really some Arctic temperatures building into the Midwest. Now, I'll back it up, and you can see some of these extreme winds that are going to be moving in, especially to Michigan on really tonight. Thursday night into Friday morning, you can see those extreme winds pushing into Michigan, and where you have the freezing temperatures, again, that's where we're going to get this strip of snow going from Colorado to Michigan, and then these crazy winds, 50 to 60 mile per hour gusts, that's going to cause some blizzard conditions. That's the other big part of the story. So looking at the snow accumulations, by tonight, there's this strip, maybe an inch here and there, and then really the bulk of it has filled in by Friday morning, where, northern parts of Michigan, maybe getting 4 to 5 inches. The rest of this strip is really more in the 1 to 3 inch range. But again, you only need about 3 inches of snow mixed with those winds to cause a blizzard. So that's the big part of this story right here. Now, we'll move back up to the Northeast. It's pretty interesting to see what happens with Winter Storm Pearl in the Northeast. Snow lovers are probably going to be bummed, although there is something on the way next week. So this is what's happening right now. You see that snow building into southern parts of Vermont and New Hampshire. That's going to move off. That's just that first little system that moved through. Winter Storm Pearl moves in really Friday morning, where northwestern parts of New York they're gonna get some pretty heavy rainfall with this one. But as you can see, that low is just way too far north, and the temperatures are just gonna be way too warm. Throughout the day, Friday, the Northeast is going to be getting some rainfall associated with this, but as you can see, no snow, maybe one little tiny strip, but really no snow with Winter Storm Pearl for the Northeast. And here's the reason. This shows that low this should be the bulk of the storm as it's hitting the Northeast. And let's zoom into New York here. You can see the temperatures in the 70s. So if you have temperatures in the 70s, I'm sorry, but you're just not going to get any snow. And if you want proof of that, so there's that first system that moves through, maybe 3 to 5 inches. And then once that's gone, Pearl's going to be moving through. You could see it on the very top of the screen here, way too far north. But, and here's the big but, if you're a snow lover in the Northeast, do not be too sad, because I'm going to give you a little sneak preview of what's coming in on Tuesday. Yeah, you got maybe 1.5 feet coming in throughout Monday and Tuesday, and I'm actually about to film an entire video on this system. So if you want to stay updated on Winter Storm Pearl, as well as this storm that's going to be building into the Northeast towards the start of next week, you could subscribe to my channel, and you could check out my forecast playlist, because I'm going to film this video right now, so you could get an in-depth look of what this storm is going to bring to the Northeast. Thanks for watching.